What's going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube world? This is Marlon. It's been a minute. With us here in the locker room. So we got a Sunday night edition of the locker room. We usually come on here on Monday nights. But today is Sunday, scheduling conflictions and things of that nature. So we decided to do this on a Sunday night. So if you can join us, share, do what you got to do. Text somebody, let them know that the fellas are on and we about to do this locker room, and we're gonna get into it and what we're doing with it and what we're talking about tonight. But before we do that, and before we even get into what we're talking about, we're going to bring in our normal cast. We got some guests on tonight, but before we get to our guests, we got some normal people on the panel in the locker room with us. So let me bring them in one by one and say what's up to them. What's going on, JJ?
Yo, what's up? We back.
It's been a minute, right? It's been a minute, but we back.
It's been too long.
It's been too long. Absolutely. We back. Appreciate you as always.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Sir. Yes, sir. What's going on? I'm gonna call you what your name tag say. D does it BIG. What's going on, D? You on
it's actually D hashtag does it BIG.
Okay. I got it. I'm with it.
It was all a dream.
I see it, and I'm guessing that's alluding to something, because you got the BIG and you got the "It Was All a Dream" hat. So I'm guessing this is going somewhere. Okay,
it's gonna go somewhere.
I hear you. All right, appreciate you as always. Jared, what's going on, man?
What's going on, West Side?
I guess that.
Here we go.
Oh, man.
What's going on, fellas?
What's that?
I guess that's going somewhere too.
Yes, sir.
All right. Awesome. So we're gonna bring in our guest, Noble. Noble couldn't make it with us tonight. He couldn't be on with us tonight, but nonetheless, we got some guests that's going to join us. We're going to first bring in what's going on, Deacon Payne.
How y'all doing, everyone?
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this.
Yes, sir. And we got one more guest. Brother Delon, how you doing, man?
What's going on? This is gonna be fun.
What's going
on, brother?
Absolutely. I appreciate you. For being our guest on tonight. And for those that may be wondering what we're talking about, how we moving on tonight, we are doing this first take style. So if all you people are familiar with first take, with Stephen, who do it now? I know Stephen A. Smith don't do it no more, right?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, he does. Oh, Max don't do it.
Max don't do it.
Who do it with Stephen A?
They got a medley of people. They got Michael Irvin. They got Tim Tebow, and then a host of other people, I believe.
Okay, got you. Okay, all right. Well, we're gonna do it that way. You know, where the two hosts, they just kind of go back and forth from a topic, kind of give their take on it, and then not really a winner. Is just kind of saying how they go about it. So we got these 3 topics on today that we want to go back, and please talk to us in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know, what's on your mind about these topics. Me and Deacon Payne, we going head to head first. We're gonna go first. I'm gonna have Daydream and Gerald go second, and we're gonna close it out with JJ and Brother Delon. We're gonna close it out with that. All right. So, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop it out. We're gonna drop out 4 people, and as we drop out 4 people, then we're going to keep the other 2 in there as we go back and forth about these topics, and then we're going to bring the 4 back in, and as we bring the 4 back in, we're going to talk about what we just heard. So, I guess, good luck. I guess that's the best I got for you. I guess that's the best I got for you is good luck. And I guess may the best man win, but it's not really a win thing. I just kind of wanted to see. That's not really a win thing. I guess they just saying, yeah, it kind of is. And,
I kind of agree with D, man.
Okay, I mean it. We adults, come on.
I mean, We'll let them decide.
Everybody can't get a trophy, man. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I'm with you.
We'll let the people decide.
I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. All right, so me and Deke gonna go first. We gonna go first, and we're gonna see you fellas in a minute. All right.
All right.
Yes, sir. So Deke, me and you got a debate on tonight with who is the greatest football player ever. Who is the greatest football player ever? All right. So before we even get into our people, do you have any honorable mentions before you even get into the person who you selected tonight?
Oh, most definitely. Honorable mention, Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White.
Okay. Forgot about Reggie.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But I feel the person I got is he's at the top of the mountain.
Okay. All right. We're gonna get to him in a minute. And I'm gonna tell everybody just before we start, and this ain't no cop out or nothing like that, but I'm just in a league. I'm in a league. I shouldn't be in this matchup right here. I'm just telling you that right now. I just shouldn't be in this matchup right here. Deacon Payne is one of the, I don't know anybody that knows football or sports more than Deacon Payne does. I really doesn't. So I really don't. So we had somebody to do this, and that was Just Murray, who knows football well as well. He couldn't do it. So I said, you know what, I'll do it. So, but those honorable mentions you got, but many people would really say that Tom Brady with 7 rings is the GOAT, right? Many people would say that he is the GOAT, definitely the greatest football player ever, but many people would say he's the GOAT. But nonetheless, because we're on a time limit, I'm gonna go first, D.
Okay.
I'm gonna go first. And I think you already know. I think everybody out there, if you know me, you know who I'm going to select to be, the greatest football player ever. He's just not the greatest wide receiver ever.
49ers.
And we're going to have to get off this phone call early because we got an 8:30 must win tonight against Green Bay. So, but with that being said, he's just not the greatest wide receiver ever. He's the greatest football player ever. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. I'm saying that because it's the truth. And you know him as Jerry Rice. Just his numbers alone tell me that he's the greatest football player ever. Just his numbers alone, 22,000, you might as well just say 23,000 career receiving yards. All-time leader in touchdowns. Now, the all-time leader in touchdowns is something that really boggles my mind, right? Because I would think that a running back would have the most touchdowns. I would think that you get the ball in a 1, you get the ball in a 5, and they punch it into you. I mean, you give it to you, punch it in. But Emmitt Smith is second. And Jerry Rice has 33 more touchdowns than him. Now we know, I believe, again, quote me if I'm wrong, Deke, I believe that Jerry Rice played longer than Emmitt Smith.
Yeah,
and considerably longer, right? I think
he played 20 or 21 years. I think Emmett played maybe 14 or 15.
Yeah. So you're talking about 6-7 more years, and that's considerably longer. But let's not forget how well in shape Jerry Rice was.
Oh, phenomenal.
Well in shape. I mean, he's practicing with everybody on the beach in Hawaii. He's practicing with everybody on the beach. So his numbers alone, he dominated the Super Bowl. 3-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP once. Another dozen Super Bowl records, all-time leader in points, touchdown, receptions. This is, and again, he was phenomenal in every decade that he played. So again, I'm going with Jerry Rice. I know my minute and a half is probably rounding out. So I'm going with Jerry Rice as the all-time great. Yes, I would use Tom Brady. I would use Lawrence Taylor. And again, I can't stand the Giants. I can't stand the Giants. But I would say that Lawrence Taylor was my second. He was my second. What he did to that position and everything, and how he who did he hurt? Joe Theismann.
Yeah, Joe Theismann.
Yeah. So I believe that Jerry Rice is my all-time favorite. Who you got, Deke? Who you got?
All right. You got a tremendous pick.
Appreciate it.
Jerry Rice, phenomenal player, dominated his position, probably better than any other player that dominated their position. But I got Jim Brown.
Nice.
And let me give you the reason why I got Jim Brown. First of all, I don't know if you can think of anybody who retired in their prime, walked away while he was still on top.
True.
You have Barry Sanders, but Barry Sanders, the circumstances, didn't have a good team, this and that. But Jim Brown played 9 years, made the Pro Bowl all 9 years. He led the NFL in rushing 8 of those 9 years. He had a 12-game schedule. So the record in rushing was 1,156 yards. In a 12-game schedule, his second best year, he had 1,500 yards. So he smashed that record by 400 yards.
That's crazy.
Here's a player that never got hurt, never ran out of bounds. You know how Franco Harris and some of these other soft runners used to run out of bounds. They run 40 or 50 yards. They put their hand up, say, I need a blow. Never missed a play, never injured, never ran out of bounds. Pro Bowl, like I said, all 9 years, and all NFL 8 out of those 9 years, and led the NFL in rushing 8 years. Also, once he went to a 14-game schedule, so he played 12-game schedule his first 4 years. As soon as he went to a 14-game schedule, 1,800 yards and change. So remember, the record used to be 1,100 yards. He took it to 1,500 yards, and then he took it to 1,800 yards. Now, you mentioned about touchdowns. Of course, when Jim Brown retired, he had the most touchdowns. He had 126. And by far, when he retired, he had that record. And then Jerry Rice and Emmitt Smith, of course, they passed him. And then you know what? Wide receivers now is a passing era. In football, when Jim Brown played, they stacked the line of scrimmage, 9, 10 guys up front, and he still would get by those guys. For his size, he was 6'3", 240 or 6'3", 235. Back then, that was a huge man, and he was fast. I don't even want to get into what he meant socially, his social activism, to this day. I mean, he's 80-something years old, and he's still one of the most socially conscious people in the world. I'm not going to tell you about what else. It was another thing I wanted to mention about him. But just those numbers alone, greatest running back and greatest football player. Oh, lacrosse. He could have been the greatest lacrosse player. As a matter of fact, a few people mentioned that he was the greatest lacrosse player when he was at Syracuse University. If they had a professional league back then in lacrosse, that just showed you the type of athlete he was. And of course, back then, lacrosse wasn't an African-American sport. He still excelled at it. He was just a tremendous athlete, tremendous person. And that's my argument for him being number one, man.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to bring everybody back in, and we're going to talk about this a little bit, and then we're going to get to another topic. All right, fellas, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me, fellas. Don't hurt me. Just ask the question, though. Who gave the best argument?
Oh, he had me at lacrosse. Man. Once Deke mentioned lacrosse, I was like, "Ooh, game over."
Yeah.
So I would say that if you asked me before the arguments, I would agree with you, Marlon, that Jerry Rice is, the numbers back it up, right?
Yeah.
But Deke put on an excellent stat-filled argument. His debate was really good. Yeah. And I would say the difference for me and what Deke kind of touched on too was, I still was probably side with Jerry Rice being better, but I feel like what Jim Brown did off the field too was like being a humanitarian activism, like he said, like it goes beyond the football field. So he was I don't want to say he's a better man in the sense of like Jerry Rice isn't a good man. But what he did off the field in that era was, and even up until now, like you said, 80 years old, he's still out here fighting a good fight. So it's tough. No, I feel like his argument was good, but I would agree with you. I still feel like Jerry Rice, just the number wise, like, hey man, what he did was amazing. But what Deke said about the whole, like, and perspective is a word I'm going to use later, but like perspective, like you said, a 12-game season. Yeah. What he was doing in a 12-game season, what most people now that we're talking about are doing 16 games, he was doing in 12 games, for 4 years. So that's amazing. That's amazing.
I hear you. So Deke, I got a question for you. You don't think that Barry Sanders is better than Jim Brown?
Barry Sanders was a great player. He had great moves. For my money, he had too many negative plays. Plays.
True.
So you know what? He had a lot of plays where he lost 5 or 7 yards, and then he would take off and go 75 or 80. But still, he didn't have the power and even the speed. A lot of times they would take Barry would have many more touchdowns. They used to take him out in goal line situations, man.
Why? Because he may lose yards.
Yeah, you lose yardage, and I guess if he did get it down to the goal line, they might have thought he was tired or whatever. But he missed out on a lot of touchdowns. He used to be on the sideline a lot of times when they had goal-to-goal situations.
Because I think it goes without saying, if he didn't retire when he retired, he would have the most yards.
Oh, he would have smashed them.
Smashed it, yes.
Walter Payton had it at the time.
Yeah, at the time.
Yeah, he would have smashed that record.
Yeah, got you. Well, I appreciate
he was a phenomenal player.
He was
too,
phenomenal.
Man.
But
it's so hard trying to narrow it down to 1 or 2 people.
It is. Anybody else on here? Adrian, Delon, Giles, JJ, who would you pick for the best football player ever that if you have one?
Come on, man.
Okay,
I think everybody knows mine.
Dadrian going with
we
know with Dadrian going with Phil Simms. We know you're going Phil.
What? See, that's
you
crazy.
I already know who I'm going with. So
Ray Lewis?
Of course.
Okay, I like that.
Man. Is that before or after the okay?
After what?
The legend.
Found innocent by jury of his peers.
So was OJ. But okay. Okay. All right.
Yo, that's crazy. Yo, the way he said the jury of his peers was crazy. By jury of his peers.
By jury of his peers. Now, Ray was phenomenal too. But I don't think he can hold a candle to Lawrence, though, man. Yeah, Lawrence changed the game.
Say it again?
Lawrence changed the game.
So did
Lawrence changed the game.
No. What did you come on, man?
Yeah.
How's he gonna change a game that LT already changed?
Yeah.
Different position.
Yeah, but then LT's the reason why they made it a position up. It was a position that they put on the offensive line that they wouldn't have put there if LT wasn't there. It's the blind side. Whatever that position is, that position wasn't there until LT came. LT made them create a new position on the offensive line. That's amazing.
Yeah, he was the first defensive player that they really game planned for. They had their game plan. They didn't game plan for no Dick Buckus and no Ray Nitsky, but they game planned for Lawrence Taylor.
That's great.
He was the first one.
They didn't game plan for Ray Lewis?
Well, after Lawrence Taylor
later on, but who was first?
I mean,
who was first?
He knows.
JD, how about you?
The linebacker ever. Come on, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite player. Like, Jerry Rice definitely is up there. I was a one-time 49ers fan back in high school.
Okay.
But I don't know if I have a favorite player. But yeah, Jerry Rice is up there. He's definitely up there.
Okay. Delon, I know you're not much of a football player watcher, right? But if you
not really.
Yeah.
But the way Deacon Mike did his argument, I had to do my research.
Yeah, it's good, right? It's good. I know it. Like I said, he's incredible. He's a walking almanac. I was looking down at my phone for the stats, and I think the pain just kept going.
Yeah.
I don't think he had I was on my phone like, hold on, let me make sure I get this right.
I did notice that too. I was like, yeah, he go off the cuff. He knows stuff, like this.
Like this. Absolutely. But okay, appreciate it. All right, so we're going to dip out and we're going to leave #, does it BIG. And we're going to leave Giles side by side. And they're going to have their first take edition of who is better, Biggie or Tupac. And I'm going to flip the coin. And the coin going to land on It Was All a Dream go first. It Was All a Dream goes first. It's on you, fellas.
All right. Biggie, Pop.
Yes, sir.
Now, first of all, I'm going to start off by saying, look, I like Pac. I mean, I'm not one of those people that was just like, oh, forget it, Pac, this, But when it comes down to who's the greatest, you're going to hear out of more mouths say Biggie than you're going to hear Tupac. And especially on the East Coast. West Coast, you're still going to probably have some people that still say Biggie. But so, I mean, it all starts right here. It was all a dream. I mean, Juicy, one of the greatest of all time. First of all, if you put up the top 5 albums of all time, Ready to Die would be up there. Not one Tupac album would be up there. That's facts. I think that's just facts. I don't think you would see a Tupac album, but you would definitely see Ready to Die. Ready to Die from beginning to end is nothing but classic materials. And it doesn't get more classic than Juicy. When it came down to freestyle, Biggie always killed it. When it came down to storytelling, Biggie always killed it. When it came down, I mean, he was commercial rapper, great commercial rapper, great underground rapper. And although Pac did sell more albums than Biggie, you got to keep in mind that Pac did 4 studio albums compared to Big's 2 albums. And then even after they died, Biggie only came out with like 2 or 3, and Pac came out with like 1 every year to this day. I mean, I think the guy is still living somewhere. But when it comes down to just straight lyrical talent, no, I can't say lyrical talent because Pac definitely has some lyrical talent. But when you're talking about greatest of all time, you gotta put Biggie right up there. Biggie's just like 1A.
Okay.
That's all I really need, really.
All right.
Yeah, I'm done.
I mean, like and like you said, nothing against Biggie. Listen to his music. It didn't move me. It's just a movie. I'm not gonna go with the stats and record sales. But for me personally, I don't want to hear about all the time rapping about money, women, cars, having all this and that. I want to hear about the struggle. Make in the hood. Make me feel good. Let me know that you struggle with me. Not only that, Pac was more than a rapper. He was an activist, right? Gang violence, black on black crimes. You could put him up there, not up there, but you could put him up there with Malcolm X, Bob Marley. As far as starting a movement, people was behind him. He was going to start a movement. That's all I got to say.
He was going to start a movement.
Okay, wait. I got you. Wait. I'm gonna bring you back in. Okay. But I like that part though. That was an interesting part that John brought up. But Adrian, I saw your faces and I saw you ask the question. So you can go back on what John was saying. You can start on you.
Yeah, I mean, no, I was with you with the whole activist, but when you start putting him up there with Malcolm X, like
I didn't say he was up there.
No, you literally went like this. So you was putting them up there when you put Malcolm X here, you're not even gonna see that. You're not gonna see that when it comes down to Pac.
Okay, all right, okay.
Well, I mean, you could have came with the.
So let me ask you this: as far as community, black people struggling, this and that. What songs did Biggie come out with?
Biggie, Everyday Struggle. You was talking about struggle. He came out with a song called Everyday Struggle.
One song.
You got to keep in mind he only had 2 studio albums, 2 before he died. Only 2. He's still promoting people about what sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
Struggle.
What happened?
Juicy was about the struggle too.
It was?
Juicy was more or less about his struggle.
About his struggle.
But we talking one song.
No,
that's one of the biggest songs, though.
Yeah, but we talking about one song. I got a whole album. He has albums about struggling. Right?
I think once you, and as we just openly talk, and anybody can talk, I think once you look at the nature, because even Deacon Payne brought up Jim Brown and brought up his activism as a person. JJ echoed that. I think for the most part, we all can admit that Pac, right, was more for that part of society than Biggie was, right? Whether it be interviews, whether it be talking against the white man, air quotes, in the face. We all know who his mom was. She was a Panther, so
well, with that being said too, though, like just perspective. I told you I'm gonna use this word a lot, perspective. So, and I used to really like Pac at one point in time, then it kind of was just like, okay, he's okay to me, you know what I'm saying? But like we say the activism part and all that type of stuff, which is very true. But he also said some crazy. It wasn't like he was always that way. You know what I'm saying? He was spitting on people out here too. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't always like the righteous Pac. There was still, he had. It's kind of like, excuse me. It's kind of like, what do you say? Well, Jay actually said it about Nas, but basically it's like, which one is it? Is it Brenda Got a Baby, or is it like which Pac are we talking about?
Or keep your head, or
keep
whatever.
Your head up, or we talking about because like was it
Hit him up or something?
Hit him up or something like. And don't get me wrong, if you're gonna be a rapper, you're gonna have all facets most likely, and people, it'll relate to a lot of people. But I just don't want it to get it misconstrued that Pac was only about activism and this and other. Pac rapped about a whole bunch of stuff, man.
Right. But when you got people coming at you, what you gonna do? You talk about the Hit 'Em Up song. Why was that made? Why was that made?
No, I'm not. Listen, and because with the argument that you made, like I agree with Dadrian. I feel like to even strengthen Dadrian's point, I feel like when we're talking about strictly hip hop and rapping, right? Yeah. Like I feel like people quote Biggie's lines more than they ever quote Pac's lines.
Right.
But I'm not arguing with you, Gerald, because when you said the way you want your rap to be, you want somebody to make you feel like, hey, they're just like me, or if I'm going through struggle, like, so I can't argue with what you want. But if I'm asking about, if you're asking me about what I prefer Biggie over Pac, but I can't argue with what you prefer in your rap.
Yeah. The line, you have something to say?
No, I was just gonna say for me, I don't listen to them a lot, but what I would say is if I'm looking for lyricists, I'm going Tupac. Only because of the lyrics that he's talking about. But if I'm looking for musicality and I'm looking for that bump, I'm going to Biggie just because that's where his genre will push you through. Like it's more of that in the club kind of situation versus Tupac is more like, I need a positive message today, or I need I need a story, or I need a different kind of story. So
that's good. Now, for me personally, as I said, me and Jared grew up in the same house, of course, and we argue about this a lot. But Pac to me was just more raw, right? He was just more raw. Didn't really have much wordplay to me. Just kind of like just straight telling you how it is. I'm gonna be real with you. When it came to wordplay, and you like, yo, that was slick. That was nice. That was incredible. It was just Biggie all day to me, But it was Biggie all day to me. But I definitely like Gerald's argument when Dadrian came with the numbers. Dadrian came with the the record sale. Yeah, Pac's still making records to this day. Machiavelli
75 million. I didn't want to throw that out there though.
I know. I hear you.
You really couldn't. I put it out there because you really couldn't, because I've never seen so many albums put out after someone died.
That means he made a lot of music.
Yeah, that's right.
But all music ain't good music.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. All music ain't good music.
A lot of music.
It's probably a reason why it didn't come out when he was alive. Just
double CD in 2 weeks. All eyes on me in 2 weeks. Double CD.
And again, you're not going to say, well, Biggie came with his double CD too, so you're not really saying anything. But
not in 2 weeks.
But and the results showed why he came out with it in 2 weeks. If you listen to it, so
All eyes on me was garbage.
What?
All eyes on me was garbage.
It wasn't Life After Death.
Come on.
It definitely wasn't Life After Death. And I'm telling you, you put up the Mount Rushmore of hip hop albums, you're not going to see a Pac album up there.
Okay, according
but
to
Ready
you.
to Die, you're going to see up there.
According to you.
That's a true. I do think that's and I'm not being biased, but I do feel like I listen to a lot of hip hop, always have and still do, and I feel like that's something that's not really discussed when you talk about the Biggie and Pac debate, because I feel like if you say okay, give me your top, he might be in your top 5 rappers, but when you say top 5 albums, I don't think any of his albums have ever really come up when people say, hey, give me your top 5 albums, top 3 albums. I don't think one of Pac's albums is there. Usually there's a Nas, there's a Jay, there's a Big, you know what I mean? Like for albums, right? You say Reasonable Doubt, you say it was, Illmatic, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. Like, and you might even say Biggie album, so yeah, I that's a good point, that I think that none of Pac's albums are regarded as top 5 hip hop albums.
Not Machiavelli?
That's not what I'm about to say.
Nah. It's a good album, and I actually like Machiavelli, but it's not top 5.
Machiavelli's a good album.
It is. And so is the double joint was a good album, but
Better Days.
But no, see now you're getting.
No. I thought you was talking about Better Days, but you talking about All Eyes on Me.
Yeah. The double, right?
Yeah, that's a double. Yeah.
Which one?
Better Days
Tupacalypse
is a
Now.
double.
Which one was that one? Tupacalypse Now was.
That's his first one.
That's the first one? Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, his double one was good because I think I was in college when it came out, but I think if you ask a hip hop head, I don't think they name any of his albums as their top 5 albums of all time.
And let's look at this. Even though we talk about everything else before we get to our final debate, let's look at this. Don't forget, Pac was an actor too.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I thought that's where he was going to go with it.
More than a rapper.
I thought that's where he was going to go with it. Be like, oh yeah, he came out with these classic movies, and he couldn't say that.
No classic.
What, Justice not classic?
Juice
Juice is more classic than Poetic Justice to me.
And I would say, no, definitely not. Well, the other, but I would say they're more cultural classics, right? I don't think they're across I don't think Juice is classic in every genre. I think it's classic it's black classic. It's black classic.
Well, that's not our fault if white people don't watch it. I mean, that real talk. I mean,
no, that's true.
That's not. It's not going to get.
The Poet Justice, he killed it. But you're right, JJ. But not only would they relate to it, would they watch it? Even if you put it in a South Plains food.
That's not our problem. A classic. I mean, is that's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like a classic. You want to say a classic should be a classic across the board if you're saying that, but that's hard. You know what I mean? That's hard because there's movies that. And that's a whole other conversation for another day. There's movies that people consider classic. I'm like, yeah, I don't relate to that, so it's not a classic to me. So, you know what I mean? I guess it goes both ways. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. Well, I appreciate that, fellas, for the Jay-Z and Biggie topic. Like I said, I think Daydream came with the facts, the stats, and came with the numbers. But I think Jar came with some interesting. I didn't think about that. That activism, and I can just imagine if Pac was still on it right now, the activism is on that right now with everything's going on, what he will be saying, and yeah, I think Biggie would just be giving quick interviews. You know what I mean? Yep. Yeah. I see you, JJ, with the Jay-Z. I don't.
No, because you said Jay-Z. You said Jay-Z and Biggie. You said that.
Oh, my bad.
I was like,
my bad.
We're not gonna talk about whole because that's
that's a whole nother. They both did they both did a good job, but I wouldn't put Hove in the top. Not over Big. Nah.
I would.
Nah. But anyway, we appreciate you, fella. We'll say that for another one. But appreciate you. So we got this last one coming up. We got some time, so we're gonna get into something else before we do it. But we got this last one coming up. I believe it's a fan favorite. I think everybody's still arguing about this to this day, talk about it to this day. And that is Bron or MJ. That is Bron or MJ. Probably the hottest debate in all sports right now. Who is the greatest of all time? And we're going to leave it up to DeLon and JJ to debate these two about who is the greatest. We're going to come back in and we're going to talk to the two of them. So I'm going to flip the coin and I'm going to put it on the line. You first to debate your case. It's on you, fellas.
All right. So to clarify, I already told Pastor my opinion concerning this is I really don't care.
Okay.
But I will say this. This is the hot topic of this generation. Really, I don't understand why it keeps replaying on TV. I guess it's the best conversation out there. But I will say, I will give the perspective for LeBron. Here's why. I think there's no other basketball player who has had as much pressure to live up to ever. To coming into the league, having to deal with the fanfare, deal with the paparazzi, deal with the Sports Illustrated, coming to the team and being dubbed like, you got to save us. Basically, like our organization is trash. You have to save our entire organization. Mind you, he affected not only that organization, but the businesses around that organization, to the point where when he left, all of the businesses and restaurants that were around that area in Cleveland fell like bad. That's why they burned his jerseys, right? So I think that is what, in and of itself, is one way to look at it. Also, I think his ability to carry teammates at times, not just scoring. I think we focus on scoring. Like I'm a scorer by nature, so I do have a preference for scorers, but I'm more impressed with people who can score and still find a way to get him 15, get him 20, get him 13. And this dude, he was on the 15th man on the bench. he giving you 20 in the playoffs off of pick and roll pocket passes in the playoffs. So for me, those are just two aspects: him making his teammates better, him being able to carry an organization, not just an organization, but businesses and families around him. But also, I don't know what planet this is okay, but MJ's personality just doesn't work for me. I would have probably fought MJ every day, because you're not going to talk to me any kind of way. I'm going to cut you at some point. It's not even just going to be, you're not punching me in practice. You're not telling me to do stuff for you because you rookie hazing. None of that. I don't know where this became normal at, but MJ's personality alone would have been like, trade me now because I'm going to kill him. You ain't going to have MJ. It's not going to be just, I'm going to hurt him. So just that alone would have had me gone. And this is talking from a person who I love scores. I love footwork. I love post up fadeaways over the right and left shoulder. I love up and under. I love left hand up and unders with your offhand. I love hanging in the air. I love all that stuff. But what I love more is a person who is a better teammate as well as your most talented player. If the person is their most talented player and they're the great teammate, I take that any day of the week, just because that's just my position. Again, it's my perspective of it, but that's my opinion. I would take LeBron over MJ. When it comes to GOAT, I don't believe in GOATs. I believe that everybody is special in their own specific way, and their ability to control the game is their ability. But if I had to pick one, if I was forced, I would pick LeBron only because of that fact. He can control a game in multiple facets. And you don't even think he is, but he's actually controlling your whole game plan. So that's my side. That's my side.
That's a really good that's a good argument, man. That's a good argument. And I know that we have a limited time, so I just kind of want to quickly say something that you talk about pressure. There's a reason why he has a lot of pressure, and it's because of somebody like Jordan. Because you talk about being compared to somebody, he's being compared to Jordan, and that pressure became because of Jordan, who Jordan is. Now, and there's plenty I want to get back to, but I'm gonna go ahead and start my little argument right now, and I'm gonna say, listen, we all kind of know the whole, hey, 6-time champion, 6-time Finals MVP, 5-time NBA MVP, 10-time scoring leader. We all know that stuff. I can go on and on. 14-time NBA All-Star. But I have a few notes that I want to get into. I just want to kind of really start to say it's really no comparison. And not to be disrespectful to LeBron, but I say it's no comparison because people want to look at Jordan and LeBron, and they look at the stats, right? Like Jordan finished playing already. LeBron is still playing, and he's passed him in scoring and all this type of stuff. But I'm like, you do know that like they're not on the same playing field because Jordan went to college for 3 years, right? So that's when you look at the numbers, right? And I said this earlier about perspective. It's not the same. They're not the same. They'll never be really even enough to say, hey, it's a more comparison debate would be LeBron and Kobe, both coming from high school. That's a more comparative, thing. But I'm gonna just go ahead and go on and say, okay, Jordan came to the league his rookie year. He averaged 28 points per game. In a league that had Magic, Bird, all these guys, right? Ewing, all that type of stuff. So he came in the game rookie year, averaging 28 points a game. And forgive me because I'm kind of bouncing around because I know we got a short amount of time, so I'm just kind of bouncing around or whatever. I'll skip to the first year Jordan won a championship, right? In 91. He averaged 31.5 points per game on 53.9% field goal percentage, 6 rebounds a game, 5.5 assists. In comparison, LeBron averaged his first year going to the finals in 07 when he lost it to the Spurs. He averaged 27.3 points per game in the regular season. And in the finals that year, he averaged 22 points per game. So a big dip from his regular season to the finals. Jordan, in that same year he won a championship, he averaged 31.2 points per game on 55% field goals. Also, was not talked about enough. He averaged 11.4 assists. It's not talked about enough. So when they talk about like, oh, Jordan doesn't do this, all he does is score, but he averaged a double-double against the Lakers his first year in going to the finals. The other thing I wanted to mention real quick, because I know, like I said, we're on a short amount of time. Jordan scored 32,000 points roughly in 15 seasons. LeBron surpassed Jordan in his 16th year, right? So perspective, Jordan played 15 years. 1 year he missed for a broken leg. Another year he only played 17 games because he came back after he retired that first time, right? So essentially, he's played 13 years, right? I know the numbers say 15, but essentially he's played 15. I know the numbers say 15, but essentially he played like 13 years in the league, right? And with that being said, he did all those numbers in that short amount of time that LeBron just started to pass him in scoring in LeBron's 16th year. So for all of that in the league, where Jordan came up in the league was more defensive minded, right? When in the 90s, I think the average points per game for a team was about 101, maybe 100. No, I think it was like 105 points a game in like the 90s, something like that. Now, we know what scoring is now. Scoring is the Bucks. The Bucks average 118 points last year. The Bucks, who yes, they have Middleton and stuff like that, but to me, they're not a 3-point shooting team. They're not a they're say again.
During the regular season.
Right, during the regular season. But it just goes to show you that perspective thing of them. The Bucks average 118 points a game. Like I would expect somebody like, maybe the Suns or Golden State to do that, but not the Bucks. So just to show you what Jordan did in a defensive-minded league is crazy to me. And so to me, and I could go on and on, but I know I'm trying to keep this, in the time schedule or whatever. But perspective-wise, it's not even close to me. LeBron is probably the best of his generation, and I'll say this closingly in the closing statement. I'll say this, and Marlon, you can end it here. The one thing I say about LeBron, this is one of my best arguments about LeBron versus Jordan. Jordan came up in the 80s and 90s, right? And he came up with the Magics, the Birds, the Barclays, and all that type of stuff. He prevented, once he started winning championships in 91, he prevented Stockton, Malone, Barkley, Olajuwon, Drexler. They only won in 94 when he retired. That's the only time they won. He prevented all these greats from winning championships. In LeBron's era, he hasn't stopped anybody. The only person you can say he stopped from winning a championship is maybe Melo. And I could look at that and say, Melo had, once he came to New York, he had a bad team. And when he was in the West Coast, he was in the West Coast going against Kobe and people like that. But Kobe was still winning championships. Duncan was still winning championships. Wade already had a championship before they teamed up and super teamed up. Everybody who was of a notable name was still winning championships or has won championships in LeBron's era. Steph Curry, KD, you know what I'm saying? So LeBron hasn't really stopped a team or a person from winning a championship. Jordan, he definitely did. So I'm done with that one.
Appreciate you, fellas. I'm definitely gonna have you guys rebuttal on this one, and I'm pretty sure everybody else got something to say. I think the majority of us did this on our first locker room, but I still want to hear from it. I don't think we really heard from Deacon Payne at that time. I think I know what Deacon Payne stand with it. But you guys right now, I know, JJ, you said you had some stuff you wanted to address with DeLon, and DeLon, you may have some stuff that you want to address with JJ. So now, DeLon, you got something you want to address with JJ. Anything he said that you may want to say, I want to kind of disagree with this or challenge that?
that last point you just made more specifically, because that's also a matter of perspective. You said Jordan stopped these players. His team stopped those players and other teams who were involved in that situation. We can say that one player stopped the player, but that's hyperbole, right? When we say that, that's like making one player have more effect on the game than they actually do. Like Michael Jordan ended up in the perfect situation for himself as a scorer with Scottie Pippen there, with Phil Jackson there, him able to mush together. Not that I think Dennis Rodman was probably the worst ego he had, but in terms of meshing a team together, he had the right setup. I think when LeBron came to Cleveland, he was GM, coach. He had to go get the player. Like he had to, first of all, if I watch you as the best player, go to your coach and tell him to scratch a play because he can't coach, you have the worst situation. I don't know about that
situation. I don't know about that
because
that could be deemed as being disrespectful too.
It could be, but at the same time, if the play hasn't worked all game, because that's what he's going based off. He's going based off of statistics. This play has not worked, and you're still calling it. Why are you still calling it? The play hasn't worked. You're not going to see that. Well, first of all, the triangle offense was different, right? So when it came to the triangle, even though people say it was a straight line without Jordan or Kobe or whatever, I still think the freedom of movement in the triangle offense allowed for kind of what you would call spontaneity. You're not really going to know where the play is going to end up. Every other team in the league was doing floppies and Princeton offenses where you could pretty much predict where they were going every single time. And that's especially after 2001. Everybody was running this same offense. Only two teams in that era was running the triangle. Chicago, LA, and now Golden State runs a little bit variations of it. And you see with Golden State running the triangle, parts of the triangle with their screening as well, how deadly their offense is because of the sets they run. So every other team runs horrible offenses.
But you talked about LeBron in I guess wherever stops he was in Cleveland, or you saw the bad situations in Cleveland and stuff, right? But also too, like, okay, so LeBron's teams wasn't as bad. In the beginning, they were bad, but they weren't as bad. Like when he came back there the second time in Cleveland, they weren't that bad.
Oh,
they
no,
were
the second
good team, right? But Jordan's teams, right? So, and I agree with you. I'm not gonna disagree. I definitely agree with you about saying about, hey, the team stopped, right? But because in the interest of our argument talking about Jordan and LeBron, I'm using that, in that sense. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, okay, Jordan's teams, Scottie Pippen was the second best on every Jordan team, right? Scottie Pippen was the second best, right? That's we can agree with that.
Yeah.
Scottie averaged like 17 points. Like legit, like Scottie averaged like 17 points. And now in perspective, that word again, perspective in that time, 17 was probably what today's 24 might be, right? Roughly about that, right? But with that being said, LeBron has had Kyrie, he's had Kyrie, Kevin Love, he's had Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, AD, Russell Westbrook now, and even Melo to a lesser degree, right? He's playing with guys that have averaged, with him, right? With him, AD's averaging high, mid to high 20s. Kyrie, a great scorer. Kevin Love, he became a more of a situational player, but he's a scorer and a rebounder. Like he's on for a name value and for like he's played for with better players than what Jordan has played with.
I wouldn't say. Here's why I disagree with you with the Kevin Love point. The dude averaged 12 points when he got to the finals. I don't know another All-Star that would. Okay, let me not say that because it's probably James Harden probably would do that too. Because when he was first in Oklahoma City, when they played Miami that first time, James Harden was horrible.
Yeah, but he was coming off the bench too.
But he was coming off the bench, right?
Harden.
So even that, James Harden is coming off the bench. Kevin Love is a starter. How do you go from averaging 18 points, 20 points throughout the playoffs? You get to the finals, and they still win that year in 2016 when they were still healthy. He averaged 12 points. Now, you could say Draymond got in his head. You can say Draymond locked him up.
I put that on LeBron.
I can't do that.
I put that on LeBron.
Here's why I can't do that. As a scorer, if I'm a scorer, no one can stop me from scoring unless
you got to get the ball in your hands, though.
He had the ball in his hand.
No, like what I'm saying is LeBron brings the ball up, and then you also have Kyrie. Kevin Love's not bringing the ball up. He's got to have somebody passing the ball, right? So he can't full court bring the ball up. That's not his strength.
Would
right?
that happen to Anthony Davis?
Huh? Say again.
Would that same thing happen to Anthony Davis though?
But Anthony Davis used to be a point guard. He used to be a point guard when he was smaller. He used to be a point guard.
But they're in the
Anthony
same
Davis bringing the ball up, but he can handle the ball better than Kevin Love.
But I would say they're in the same positions. They have to wait for the ball at the same time.
I think Chris Bosh and Kevin Love suffered the same fate of playing on a LeBron-led team because LeBron, although he's a small forward, he has the okay. So here's one of my issues, and I love LeBron. Don't get me wrong. I'm a LeBron realist. That's what I like to say. I love LeBron for this era, but I'm a realist about it. I'm a realist about LeBron. How are you LeBron James and you're playing with Kyrie? Now it's different. Your first run in Cleveland, you didn't have great point guards. You had point guards, but not great point guards. But you're playing with Kyrie, right? His second run in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. You don't need to bring the ball up as much as you do have the ball in your hand when you got a point guard like Kyrie. But he still brought the ball up in his hands. And so if the ball was in his hands, then it was in Kyrie's hands. Where does that leave Kevin Love? I mean, that turned him into a spot-up shooter, go out on the wing, and that's what they did to Chris Bosh in Miami. And that's what they did to Kevin Love. And they deactivated his skill set by saying, hey, we just need you to spot up on the corner and shoot threes. Not playing to the strength of being a rebounder, not playing to none of that.
But you're calling Kyrie a point guard too. So if you're calling Kyrie a point guard and he has the ball in his hands, why isn't he setting up Kevin Love if he's a point guard? It's because about
he's secondary point guard to LeBron.
But his mentality is still he's still a scorer, right? So if we're saying point guard, LeBron, regardless, is going to be a point guard at whatever position he plays. He's going to be small forward, power forward, doesn't matter. He's going to be point forward. That's going to be there. But the thing is, I would not blame him for a player disappearing if they're getting the ball in the most. Listen, you give me open threes all day, and I made my career in Minnesota. The reason why I dropped 50 in Minnesota was because I could hit threes.
But that wasn't
not just because I could rebound.
I feel like he became a better shooter. He became a better shooter towards the end of Minnesota, and in Cleveland, he was shooting threes. But the majority of his time in Minnesota, he was putting up. Like you said, he put up 30. He put up 30 and 20. He had a 30-30 game. A lot of that was because he was getting offensive rebound. He's a good offensive rebounder. So he was putting up.
I would
bunnies right there at the rim.
I would agree with that. But then
go ahead. Do I finish? Finish what you're saying.
No, I would just say this, and this is my last point, especially towards the Kevin Love issue. He was in Minnesota and wasn't winning. He came to Cleveland and started winning. Regardless of whether the production dropped off because LeBron did the Space Jam thing, took the ball and he sucked his talent out. I don't. You went to Cleveland as an all-star. So if I look at you as an all-star, right, I'm going to expect you. People say, oh, LeBron, it's hard to play with LeBron. It's the spotlight and all that stuff. Kyrie Irving's production didn't change. Dwayne Wade's production changed a little bit.
Kind of.
But Kyrie averaged more points. He averaged more points when LeBron got there.
And he also left.
He left, but Kyrie's different. We can watch that now and say he a little different.
Even
if you say that Kyrie left because LeBron alienated him, can we really believe that based off his behavior now? Like, if you look at his behavior, he wants his perfect situation, which is fine. You're entitled to that. But I don't think it's fair to put that on LeBron and say it was his fault because he took opportunities or whatever away.
But I also think too with the Kyrie situation, the one thing that I was not upset about Kyrie leaving for is because if you're an alpha, right? Like if you come into this game and he's number one pick, he only played 8 games in Duke, you're number one pick, you're alpha, right? Like you came up in the game, you're the man. You so much the man that, like I said, you barely had a college career and you still was the number one pick. If you're alpha, you came into Cleveland, you're the man, you can take any shot you want to, whatever. Now another alpha comes in and he's the alpha of potentially the league at this point in time, right? He comes back to Cleveland. Like, and by talking to you, you play basketball, right? You say you're a scorer and all that type of stuff. I play basketball as well too, like grew up playing basketball, whatever. But here's the thing. If I feel like I'm an alpha and you coming in as an alpha, we're not gonna mix. Everything is not gonna be a LeBron D Wade situation where D Wade says, okay, you go ahead and take it. So like Kyrie was like, all right, I'm out of here because I want to be the man too, and I can control the team. And I'm a point guard. But if I'm a point guard and don't have the ball in my hands most of the time, I'm about to go to Boston. That's what I'm saying. That's what he did. Now we know that, like you said. Now we know. I think
that's
Cuckoo Kyrie.
That's the thing right there. He leaves, goes to Boston. He's a point guard. He's the man. They don't win at the same capacity. He's at the net. Now we'll see what happens with Brooklyn. Now he has Kevin Durant, so I'm not really putting in too much stock into any pressure on him per se. But I will say he left Cleveland, went to Boston, and he had an opportunity to lead that team. He did not lead that team. And you could say he got hurt, but you can tell even when they played LeBron during the regular season. When they played LeBron and LeBron literally had J.R. Smith left and Tristan Thompson left, the Cleveland still beat them. Why? Because it's not about you being in control of the ball. It's about what is the best recipe to win. And he had the most talent. Jason Tatum, even though he's a rookie. Jaylen Brown, you had Marcus Smart, you had Marcus Morris still on that team. You had a lot of good players on that team well enough that could still win, but Kyrie could not translate that winning persona there.
I agree with that. I'm not going to disagree with that.
You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
Well, both of you guys had amazing arguments, and I'm gonna let Deacon Payne just chime in on who his pick was not even out of the two, but who do you say out of LeBron and Jordan? And because I think me, Gerald, and Adrian talked about this before on the first one, and we can even still chime in. I still get my little tidbit. But Deacon Payne, who do you say out of LeBron and Jordan?
Well, I think you guys know how I feel about LeBron.
Yeah.
Michael's Michael. He's the greatest. But I just don't think that people give LeBron the respect that he deserves, and the gap is not as wide as what people tend to believe. JJ, you did have a good point about Michael Jordan and his team shutting down those great superstars, because if he didn't go to baseball, he would have won 8 in a row. He would have won 8 in a row.
Yeah.
And he would have.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We know. He would have won 8 in a row. With the structure of that team, with Phil Jackson and the way he had them playing, they would have won 8 in a row. And even 6 out of 8 years, he still shut those guys out. Like you said, Barkley, no ring, and Patrick and Stockton and Malone. And he did an incredible job. But like I said, LeBron is a phenomenal player. He does have more losses, of course, in the finals and everything. But what DeLon said, he didn't have the greatest talent in his early years in Cleveland, and he was still able to elevate those guys at a high level. He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal, but he's a close second. He's on that Mount Rushmore. He's on that Mount Rushmore. If it's 4 people, if it's 5 people, he's on that Mount Rushmore, man.
Appreciate it, Dick. Appreciate it. Awesome arguments, fellas. Gerald, Adrian, anything y'all want to add to it? I'll say what I said before. Shared it with you guys. Shared it with DeLon. I'm gonna stick with MJ. But excellent argument, DeLon. Even talking about him, LeBron being all in one, right? He's been your best player as far as skilled player, which I don't think LeBron is that skilled. But I feel like he's more athletic than he is skilled. But nonetheless, and being, come on, he's like at a very, 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 very advanced Blake Griffin. A very,
what you're right. Very
advanced.
That's ridiculous right there.
Advanced Blake Griffin is crazy.
That's beyond crazy.
I'm joking. But nonetheless, as DeLon said, though, he is your most skilled and at the same time most selfish, and he's getting people better. So you don't really see that much. You don't see that much. Of course, we know, MJ's take when it comes to being a teammate, right? Being a teammate, punching Steve Kerr and, people, I don't know if this is true or not, but he would take his own plane to games. He didn't want to fly with his teammates.
I never heard of that. Jordan,
yeah,
you said?
I never heard of that one. Again, I don't know if it's true or not. But
I can believe it though.
I don't know if it's true or not.
I could definitely believe it.
But can we be clear about something though? Can we be clear about something? LeBron is not an angel either. They talk about Jordan. For everything that y'all talk about Jordan, he punched a teammate, bad teammate, all that type of stuff, which is debatable because even Steve Kerr says they still was good, and Steve Kerr don't have nothing bad to say about him. But LeBron talks bad about his teammates in public. That's not a good teammate.
I would say this though. If talking
Jordan
bad,
never said nothing bad about his teammates.
No. If I would rather you talk bad about me if I play trash in public than you cuss me out and disrespect me and call all kinds of names to my face. I'd rather you say, yo, you play trash. You were trash.
And I'm just asking the question. I'm not debating this. I'm just asking the question. You said you would rather him call you trash in public than to say something to you privately.
Disrespectfully, because it's not just saying something to me in private. It's what you say in private. If you come at me in a very disrespectful way, where you calling me MFers and stuff like that, and you talk about my family, that's to me, I'm gonna punch you in your throat, and it's not gonna. I don't care how many points I scored, but if it's Kevin Love, you were trash, you were on a tweet.
But okay, so what if he says something disrespectful in public as well too? Not just you trash,
but he did it. You got receipts for that?
No, I'm saying, what if he did though? Like I'm saying, what if he did? Because I just feel like I think LeBron gets this. Like they talk about Jordan or somebody like that. I'm like, nah, LeBron be saying some crazy stuff too. Or he'll talk about in public. Oh, we need to get better. Like, he's talking about basically making trades in public. And I'm like, so you're saying the rest of this team is trash? Like that's
because he did say we're only top. He did say
we're top heavy.
But they weren't. He wasn't. Here's the thing: if it's not a lie, we're good. But if there's a difference between a lie and disrespect. If it's not a lie, we're good. Why? Because the last was it the top three was Kevin Love, Kyrie, and him. So the first three play out of 15 guys, 12 of them are not doing their job. Bruh, he's not lying.
But you see what happens when somebody says that in public. And look at what happened in the Philadelphia 76ers. Look what happened with the Ben Simmons situation. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying when Joel and Doc Rivers said in public, now look at their situation. Because now Ben is like, I ain't going back there. I ain't dealing with him. You said something in public.
Yes, that's definitely it's definitely crazy. I'm gonna pass it to you, D, but I do agree with JJ and closing out with this. Yes, it was not Jordan's team. It's not tennis, and it's not tennis, it's not bowling where you beating somebody one-on-one. So I do agree with that part, but I do also agree with JJ that I think Jordan took that in a sense of like pride to say, Barkley, you not winning, right? He took it into a sense of pride, like Malone and Stockton, y'all not winning. Reggie Miller, you ain't getting to the finals. Right. So I think even though his team helped stop them, but I think Jordan just took a real personal hint, him refusing to even go to a game 7 in the finals. I think Jordan we're not even going to a game 7, where LeBron went to many game 7, well, a couple game 7s and lost as well. So, but of course I'm going with but again, and I'll be honest, D, LeBron wouldn't be on my Mount Rushmore. If it's 5, he might make 6. He might make 6. Blake Griffin 7.
That's crazy.
Yo, that's crazy.
Deja, how about you, Deja? How about you?
Yo, y'all know where I stand with that. I think I made it clear before.
Deja, I don't know.
Yeah. Speak up, but the world hear you.
I mean, I basically second what Deke said. It's hard for me to say, being a Knicks fan, it's hard for me to say that Jordan is the greatest. I will say Jordan is the greatest, but I feel like LeBron is right there. I don't think it's fair for anybody to shut LeBron down. It's not like he compared himself to Jordan. It was the media that's coming around comparing Kobe to Jordan and comparing him to himself.
You went with number 23. You compared yourself to Jordan.
First of all, Kevin Martin had 23. We can go down a list of players who had 23 besides LeBron, and we didn't compare them to Jordan. Stop.
Because they probably weren't comparable to Jordan.
And And
Oh,
I'm actually
so that
surprised. I'm actually surprised that the whole activist wasn't brought up with that because there's no comparison with that. Jordan
Well,
stayed
We
away.
talking about better
Yeah,
player. We
all
talking
that.
about better player. We talking about
We're
better
trying to
player.
stick
But
to
we
the
was-
court. I try to stick to the court.
No, but that's not true. We went to Jim Brown activism. We went to
Yep.
Pac. We went to Pac. So
Exactly.
we could talk about LeBron with that, but
Yeah, but I said Deke made a good point about that. I said, but I still went with Jerry Rice. Like I said, yeah, off the field he did some great stuff, but sticking to on the field or on the court, that's what I was. Me personally, that's what I was judging on.
Yeah. And again, I respect everybody. You know, as everybody know, if you don't know, like I'm a more, and then I'm gonna let you end this with Jarrett. Anybody else got something to say about this? I'm more of a skill. I love Kobe. I love Dwayne Wade. I love Hakeem Olajuwon. Like Delon was saying, I love footwork. I love up and unders. I love turnaround jumpers. And LeBron just don't. Yeah, LeBron don't got that.
Don't do it, man.
He don't got that. So I respect this game. Like Adrian said before, I asked you, Adrian, I was like, what does LeBron think? Right? Curry got a 3. Jordan had a turnaround. Olajuwon got the footwork. Kobe got the fadeaway. And I said, Adrian, so what is LeBron's thing? And you said he's good at he can do everything good a little bit or something like that. Like he's not good at like
top of the key steamroll.
Yeah, like
top of the key what?
Steamroll.
Steamroll. He bowls
him and Giannis.
Yeah.
That's one that I will agree with. I'll agree with that.
Yeah,
I wish he had a go-to move.
I do too, and again, and that's why I got more respect for Giannis because he won a title, and he got 2 MVPs. He got a DPOY. I got respect for him, but him, Vince Carter, LeBron, like I respect LeBron. I just can't go with this only athletic game. I just can't go with it. So
because Vince Carter do to you?
Yeah.
What did Vince Carter do to you?
Yo, I want to know. Vince Carter's an icon, and Pastor's the only one.
He came out of nowhere. He came out of nowhere during that thing. Was like, yeah, Vince Carter's not good. I'm like where that? I don't even know where that came from.
Did he not sign an autograph?
So let me ask y'all this.
Go ahead, Jared.
All right, so Delon, you think Vince Carter is better than Giannis?
I think that Vince Carter has more talent than Giannis. I think Giannis, he has a height advantage that a lot of people don't have. But I would rather, and this I guess is my flash factor. I would rather watch Vince Carter only because I would love to just watch him play, which is why I don't understand how Pastor Mark says he has no jumper. Like that's the reason why I would watch
Vince Carter better than Tracy McGrady.
Brick City.
Vince Carter, no, I do not believe.
Okay.
I think Tracy McGrady injuries hurt Tracy McGrady.
Okay.
So
Tracy
that was one of the
McGrady,
factors I wanted to bring up in the argument. I was like, you could say Michael Jordan had 2 years off. If Tracy McGrady was healthy, he's Kevin Durant before Kevin Durant ever existed. So
I agree.
So
with that.
I think there's a lot of factors that come into play when it comes to basketball.
And what do you say, Deke, about Giannis and Vince? Because you try. What do you say, Deke, about Giannis and Vince?
Sleep deep.
Deke? Maybe I'm on mute. Maybe I'm on mute. Yeah, but I think he probably can't hear us. I don't know if Deke Payne can hear us. I don't know if
he not. No.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, it's on. But I remember talking to Deke, and I remember talking to Deke after it's over. He was like, "Yeah, I don't think Vince Carter can ever win it. I don't think he can ever win a game 7. In game 7.
Wait,
there you
game
go.
7 on the road?
Yeah,
no way.
Yeah. No way. But I agree with you, Delon. I would rather watch Vince Carter. Yes, I think I would rather watch Vince Carter. But as far as I don't know. Yeah, and JJ, what did Vince Carter do to me? Like,
yo, you giving him all the smoke. He like, yo, like, what did I do? But I just have a good career.
So of course, you being a basketball fan, you would clump a Blake Griffin, right? You clump who else is out there right now? A Zion Williamson as being like they're just not just sheer athleticism, like right. You wouldn't put Vince Carter in that? You think he had?
No.
I would.
Because
I would.
I think.
Hold on. Would you put Dominique Wilkins in there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And what part? And where? Where am I putting?
In athleticism.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
And you don't see Dominique and
Dominique is a
Carter
guy
the
that
same
can
player.
hoop. Like if you caught Dominique on the street ball, he probably gonna hoop you to death. But you know what I'm saying? Because even like I feel like his strength will just I'll back you down. But as far as real skill, we talking about real basketball skill. Like Delon said, we talking about footwork. We talking about a go-to move.
Vince Carter?
I'm saying Dominique don't have that. I feel like Vince Carter can have
moves.
that.
It may not be go-to, but I've seen him move. I've seen moves from Vince Carter. Not maybe
Vince Carter got a little
turnaround.
He got a jump shot, man.
I respect y'all, man.
He's not a sniper, but he got a jump shot.
Yeah, I respect him.
Yo, but you got to leave Vince Carter alone, man. Like it's starting to sound
Vince
personal,
Carter
bro.
is enjoying retirement. He getting sportsmanship awards.
I hear you.
Yo, Marlon, you must have saw him on NBA TV, and you was like, "Nah, I don't like that dude."
Yeah, I don't like that.
You must so commentate. He was like, "Nah, I don't like that dude."
I don't like the way you commentate.
I'm thinking he saw him on the street and he didn't give him a autograph or something.
It's something, man. It's something personal, man. It's something personal, man.
Absolutely. All right, so I appreciate y'all, and Delon and Jay, y'all had phenomenal arguments. Both of y'all hit me with different aspect that I wasn't expecting and things of that nature. But I knew that I won't say that one for last. I knew that was going to be the one that we all was going to talk about. It's going to be debated forever. And even when LeBron retires, it's still going to be debated. It's still going to be debated until there's another person to put into the fold, right? If there becomes who's that?
Larry Bird.
Come on, man.
What?
Yeah, Larry Bird.
He knows Bird.
Larry Bird. Lay on the sideline during timeouts.
We need a little bit of diversity, Gerald. I guess
Larry Legend, right?
Lay on the sideline during timeouts.
Yo, with a towel under the back of his neck.
Larry Bird is a diversity pick. I got it.
White towel.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, we're gonna try to get into this quick, y'all. I know that we got to go, whatever the case is. But I asked everybody to kind of talk about at least one or two real quick. Not titles, but records that we don't think will ever be broken. Don't ever be broken. People kind of like hit me with some stuff. Wanted to make sure nobody was doubled up on each other. But I started because nobody had this one. I started real quick. And I said from any sport. And I was like, man, I don't see that being broken. And I could pick some honorable mentions, but I want to pick the honorable mentions because somebody else may have it. But I'm gonna go with because I know Deke, you sent me this one, but I don't think you're gonna talk about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Lou Gehrig's record. Lou Gehrig's hitting streak record.
No, not Lou Gehrig.
No, not Lou Gehrig. Joe DiMaggio, my bad. Joe DiMaggio. Mm-hmm. And I think that 56 in a row hitting streak. That's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal to me. And I think people have come close. Well, not close, but they've tried like 30 games or 40 games after that.
Yeah. Pete Rose was the closest, 44.
44. So I don't think nobody breaking a 56 hit. Because even if you think about it, you got 162 baseball games. Right, 162 baseball games. So even if you try, you only get like 2 shots. You only get like 2 or 3 shots in that time period to even give it a shot. Like if you try like a basketball trying to break a scoring record, you could try that every game for 82 games. 82 games. You have 82 times to kind of break this record. But it's 56 games. That means you only get like 3 shots in that season to try it. So I'm going with Joe DiMaggio's 56 hitting streak. I don't really think. And Deke, how long ago did you do it? The 40s?
Since 1941, 80 years since
80
stood.
years. 80 years. I can't.
That's crazy.
I can't see nobody beating that. So I'm going with that. JJ, how about you? What you got? Say it again. David.
Well, Haley's comment is what? Every what?
77.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy. Wow. JJ, what you got?
I got 2. I'm gonna give you 2 quick ones. I feel like Ricky Henderson. I'm back baseball as well. Mm-hmm. Ricky Henderson stolen base record. He's got 1,406. Wow. And Lou Brock is second with 938. Wow. It's not happening.
Wow.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Because they don't even steal bases like that anymore.
No, and that's to your point, D. I was about to say the same thing. I used to be bigger into baseball than I am now the last few years. But the way they play baseball now, they're not stealing bases because with analytics, they're saying it's kind of like a bad move to do. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take a real errant, pitch for somebody to want to steal a base. So they're not doing it in the clip that they used to do it in. So 1,406, I don't see that being broken anytime soon. or at all, I should say. And the next one is UConn women basketball team. They won 111 in a row.
That's serious.
Yeah.
So for a 3-year stretch from 14 to 17, they won 111 games in a row. And mind you, they had a 90-game win streak and also a 70-game win streak. I just don't think that's happening. I don't think nobody's beaten 111 in a row, male or and on that level, on D1 level. Now it could happen on some D3, some some JUCO type stuff, maybe. But I feel like on the D1 level, I don't think that's going to be broken either.
That's true. That's true. And I got one more before we move to Daydream. I got one more. I believe he's the second greatest point guard of all time, and that's John Stockton. Magic Johnson is the first. Magic Johnson is the first.
Yeah, because I'm about to say,
I think John Stockton is the greatest. I don't think second greatest. I don't think no one's beating his assist record. I don't think
you
no
stole
one.
mine.
Oh, I did. My bad. Oh, my fault.
Well, let him go. Let him go into detail about it.
Oh, you got it. Oh, you got a second one?
No. Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead. Talk about it. Go ahead and talk about it.
No, I just think that his assist record can't be broken, especially because how much the game has changed. The point guard doesn't handle the ball as much as they used to. And I think John Stockton used to handle the ball every time down. Now the point guard is Steph Curry. He's catching the ball at the end of the play as opposed to starting the play. So I think that, and it's too predicated on your teammates too. Like he had Karl Malone, I pass you the ball every time down, you dunking on somebody. Now everybody's shooting threes, so that's not always a guaranteed assist. You're always gonna that number's too out there. I don't think the way the game is played, you're gonna be able to catch that.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that one. And I think Jason Kidd is second with 12,000. I think he has 15,000. I think then the player the most active player is Chris Paul with 10,000 or something like that. So, and no way Chris Paul going to give you another 5,000 assists before he retires. There's no way he's going to do that. So I think, he gets in there. So that's something. And then DeLon put the spin on it is that they don't even do that like that no more. They'll even do that. The point guard is a scoring.
It's a lot
point
more
guard.
movement. It's a lot more ball movement now.
A lot more. Yeah. The only true point guard that left is Chris Paul. He's the only one that's left. A true point guard in his position. I can't think of no other true point guard that's there. They're scoring point guards. Ja Morant, he's a scoring point guard. And the list goes on and on and on. So, Deja, how about you? What you got going? And this is a very unique one, y'all. So strap in your seatbelts.
Yo, my man Jeff Carter. Why y'all got blank faces?
Because we don't know who he is.
Jeff Carter holds the USBC record for highest sanctioned league average ever at 261.74. Y'all got to realize if you bowlers, that's a 785 series. 785 series.
That's crazy.
A perfect series is 900. For you to average that, and you have to bowl at least 60-something games. The highest average before that was 256.4.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Nobody's catching that because it's 785. You basically gotta average 800 series, yo. Yeah. I was gonna go with the obvious one.
What's that?
I didn't want to go with the obvious one. I was gonna go with Wilt. But that was an obvious one, so I didn't want to go with that.
What's the 100-point game?
Yeah.
So that right there. So two things. I do agree with the bowling because I'm a bowler. I do agree with that. That's a phenomenal feat. Had no idea who Jeff Carter was when you sent me the text. I had to look him up real quick. But that's a phenomenal feat. Like you said, that's just, you can't break that. Now Wilt's 100-point. Kobe came close.
That's coming close, and he was still 20 points off.
Yeah, 19 points off.
Okay.
But that's also a guard though. So can you imagine if you had like a true big man in there? But no, I agree. Wilt is, and I also heard that somebody said that they found some footage of that game. So if they play that game and find footage of it,
I don't know if I can believe that.
Yeah, I heard somebody found footage of it.
Like how do you just find footage all these years later? Like
somebody said, and this is it was an article that a grandfather of somebody had taped it and they buried it. They forgot they taped it and they buried it somewhere and it was clean out the attic. He passed away and they're like, "Yo, I got footage of Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game."
Sound like a movie.
Sound like a movie. I don't know, but I tell you what, and then if you did, why wouldn't you put it out by now? You would sell that thing.
You're making millions,
millions,
life-changing money
for real. How about you, John? What you got?
Of course, I'm going to go with the obvious. Of course, one Boston Celtics 8 consecutive titles.
That's good
straight.
too.
Nobody breaking that.
Yeah, that's true. I like
That's a
that.
good one. That's a good one.
That's a
I
good
can
one.
respect
Yeah,
that. That's a
yeah,
good one.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
Brett Favre 297 games played. Straight.
Yeah, that's a good one too. That's a
Well,
good one too.
that could have been broken
Who was that?
on that one.
Who
Could have
did
been
that?
Eli.
Well,
That could
Eli.
have been Eli.
How many he had? How many Eli had?
Could
You
have,
know?
would have, but it wasn't.
I mean, Eli had like 220 or around like 220 before he got benched.
Yeah, but 220. You said how Brett Favre had what?
297.
Yeah, I was like, that's a light year away, bro.
Yo, especially in 16-game football season.
That's light years away, bro.
It's 17 now, so he would have had an extra game this season.
So one extra game.
Okay, and I respect that. I respect that. And then another Iron Man we had. We got a couple other Iron Men in sports. Who was the AC Green with the Iron Man in basketball? I don't know how many games he had.
AC Green.
Yeah, he played a
Yeah,
lot of.
900
he had over
something
900
games.
straight.
Yeah,
That's crazy. That's crazy. And then who?
Yeah,
Kyle Ripken.
Ripken.
Kyle Ripken in baseball, another Iron Man, just playing these crazy amount of games. But football is phenomenal because it's a contact sport. And you're playing 297 straight games in football, and you're a quarterback, you get sacked, hit. That's phenomenal.
I mean, honestly, I think, and not taking anything away, but any sport that you can suit up that many times in a row is crazy.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow, the line said AC Green was 1278. Sheesh.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Oh wow.
That's crazy. That's amazing. That's amazing. And then that eight consecutive.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough to beat.
Not the way the league is now.
From the Celtics. That's tough. That's tough to beat. Like I said, the Bulls could have tied it if Jordan retired. They could have at least tied it. But like y'all said, they wouldn't have happened. Who knows?
We don't do ifs.
But you're true. The Bulls would have been the closest.
Definitely don't
the
do
Bulls would have been the closest.
The Bulls would have been the closest. Yeah. What's going on, Jeff Murray? Jeff Murray just popped in. But he on the chat. But at the same time, we the Bulls have been closer. But the Celtics, I can't see. The Warriors could have had 5 straight if Draymond Green didn't get suspended and then Klay Thompson didn't get hurt. That would have been 5 in a row, right? That would have been 5 in a row.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we don't do ifs.
It's the what if game, but
it's the what if game, But
yeah, I think if like you said, it's the what if game. I think if, like you said, Draymond didn't get suspended, but also if Draymond didn't get into an argument with KD that make KD want to leave.
Yep.
If KD would have stayed, the league would have been in trouble. Like if KD would have stayed, the league would have been in serious trouble.
But don't forget when Draymond got suspended, KD wasn't there. I'm talking that 2016.
I'm saying I agree with that. I'm saying, but also too
that's true. It would have been if he would have stayed, the league would have been in trouble. It would have been in trouble, absolutely. So, but what if that's some good points there, Gerald. I appreciate that. Deke, what you closing us out with?
I'm closing you out with, and that's what I thought you were going with, Daydream. Wilt Chamberlain, 50 points a game. Nobody's ever going to break that record.
No.
Michael Jordan, what was Michael Jordan's highest?
37 and a half.
Yeah. Yep.
37.
So 50 points a game, no one's ever breaking that record, guys.
Nah, I agree. And then how many rebounds did he average that same year? Like 20?
It was like over 20.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. 50 points a game and 20 rebounds a game. Now, Deke, let me ask you a question about Wilt, and what's your take on this?
I already know it.
What's your take on he being the biggest?
Yep.
Him being like the average height then was like 6'9", 6'8".
Playing against Milkman.
Now, I'm not saying I believe this. I'm just saying that's what people say. They said even when he played against like a Wilt Chamberlain, I mean when he played against a Bill Russell on his way out. He on his way out or whatever the case is. So what do you feel? What do you say about him not playing against like talented people in his era?
I mean, you could always use that argument, but if he played against even Shaq now, first of all, people don't realize he was a quarter miler in high school. He played with the Harlem Globetrotters. Wilt Chamberlain wasn't always 280 and 290. He was 260, 250, and he was just as graceful as any guard that played. And he was just a phenomenal athlete. He could have done it in any era. You know, he talk about eras now. Okay, Bill Russell was only 6'9". You think Bill Russell would have averaged 20-something rebounds, being only 6'9" in this era?
No.
Was he only 6'9"? He looks so like even now he looks so tall.
Bill Russell's only 6'9", man.
He look like he about 6'11".
Yeah, he do. Wow.
I
You
didn't
right
know
about that.
No, you can say that about anybody with the records and all that. Just like in baseball don't want to give people the credit, and I agree too. Until the black athlete started, nothing should be in baseball until 1947 when Jackie Robinson broke in.
I agree.
And that's when the leagues really got more competitive when the blacks came and the Latin players came. But I mean, you still can't take nothing away from Wilt, man.
No,
he never fouled out of a game. Never fouled out of a basketball game.
That's crazy.
50 points of stamina you got to have to average that is crazy, guys.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I just asked that because sometimes people say that, but I want to say that.
They're always going to say that. They definitely going to say that.
Yep.
I agree that he played against Milkman, but I also wouldn't. I can't fault him for playing. That's the competition he had, so that's what I have. Like, so I can't fault him for that. But I do agree that a lot of those guys he was a man amongst boys. You know what I'm saying? But I can't blame him for that. You play against what your competition is, and that is what it is. So,
but Deke is saying if he played against Shaq, he'll still do that now against Shaq.
Oh yeah, if he played against these players now, he still would have been done. He wouldn't average 50 points, but he still would be the best center in basketball.
Is Wilt Chamberlain the most dominant basketball player ever?
I would say so. Even Bill Russell admits that. Bill Russell used to play head games with him because he used to invite him over for dinner and all that kind of stuff. And then he would let Wilt Chamberlain score like 30-something points straight, but the rest of the teammates wasn't doing nothing. Jerry West and Elgin Baylor, they wasn't doing nothing. So Bill would play head games with him. But Wilt was the most dominant player ever. Yes,
I like that. I like it.
So he was better than Parrish, D?
Yo, that's crazy.
Yo,
that's crazy.
What's that?
Giles said so. Wilt Chamberlain was better than Robert Parrish.
Come on, Jeff. Come on, Jeff.
Yo, that's insane.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he said that with a straight face too.
Oh yeah, he
Parrish?
always gonna put his Boston guys up there.
Robert Parrish.
Robert, his shoulders
Robert
is mad
Parrish.
boxy, yo.
Chief.
Chief.
Yeah.
Jeez.
All right, so I got a
Gerald,
question.
the Robert Parrish.
Pastor.
Hey, Gerald, the Robert Parrish from Golden State days.
Yeah, for real. Forgot about him. Forgot about that. From Chicago Bulls. Forgot about that, Robert Parrish. That's crazy. What you saying, Gerald?
No, I'm saying I got a question. So this I don't know if you want to close out on this, but I got a question, and I'm going to answer first. If there's a record that will be broken, what would it be?
Out of what we said,
100 points
Or anything.
Or yeah, I'm going to say
Oh, no.
100 points. Wilt
The
Chamberlain.
Oh, you say that one?
Yeah.
I can possibly see Wilt Chamberlain record being broken. I can.
I think with 3-point shooting,
You talking about in our lifetime?
Yeah, I think with 3 points and somebody just really getting hot.
Nah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
I
if anyone, I think that's the one that will be broken.
Yeah, out of all the ones that we
will,
said,
yes.
out of all the ones that we said, that might be. I can't see. So going around the corner, going around the thing real quick. I can't see John Stockton. JJ, what you have said? What you say?
Ricky Henderson stolen base
Yeah,
and
stolen
UConn
bases.
women.
Yeah, I
Ricky
can't
Henderson
see
stolen
those.
bases.
Yeah, I can't see those. I can't see Joe DiMaggio 56 game. Out of everybody that we said, yeah, Danger. I gotta go with Wilts. Might be the one. You know, with Kobe. I mean, Devin Booker has 70.
Yeah.
Devin Booker has 70. You know. I mean, he lost the game, but he still has 70. You know, but so he only 30 points away, and he a guard. So if you had a good big man there that can really control the paint like that, I don't know. But Justin, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I feel like if I get the right bowling ball, I might be able to break Jeff Carter's joint.
Oh boy!
First of all, who is Jeff? First of all, who is Jeff Carter?
Got the highest average, yo.
No, but I'll say this much too. Like I don't know, but if we're going to talk about that, the 100-point game being broken, record being broken, remember, like Kobe scored at 81, right? But he also scored like 60 something in 3 quarters.
That was crazy.
And
Clay
Clay did that too. He
Klay
did that.
Thompson.
And remember, Clay did it off of I think they said he did like 14 dribbles the entire game.
Yeah,
right?
that was crazy.
Yeah.
So like something crazy. So it's a possibility somebody get hot. Now, what it's going to take is going to have to be a close game, because if it's a blowout, then the right coach would take you out, right? So it's going to be a perfect scenario for it to happen. It's going to have to be it's going to have to be it's going to have to be a close game. But for those people to score that many points in a little bit of time, right? Like what Clay did, that's crazy.
That's
you know
crazy.
what I mean? That could happen.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You scored that. It's phenomenal how they scoring in these games. It's
14
phenomenal.
threes, I think, is the record, right? 14 threes in a game is the record. Clay holds it, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say he even hotter, right? Let's say Steph isn't playing that game and he's getting more touches.
Yeah.
Let's say he scores 20 threes.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
No,
like,
it's
let's be real, 20 threes is a possibility in a game.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. One record that is being broken next season is Ray Allen's 3 points. Bye-bye.
Oh,
that's going bye-bye.
And a whole lot sooner. And a whole lot sooner than what he did.
What he thought it was going to be.
Player. Curry came in. I said, that's
bye-bye.
Yeah.
I think he got like 120 to go or something like that. Whatever it is, it's going bye-bye.
Remember that time when we thought that we were let's say maybe 4 years ago, and people asked yo, is Steph Curry the greatest shooter? We're like, well, maybe not yet.
Yeah.
Look how quickly that went away. It's like, nah, he's the greatest.
Quick.
He's the greatest. He's the greatest.
Yeah, there's no talk about no debate about it.
Yeah, clearly.
Oh god.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to say,
I didn't think he was going to say yeah.
Back then, they didn't shoot threes like that. Bird didn't shoot threes like that.
Yeah,
I'm willing to say Clay is second. I'm willing to start that argument to say Clay is second.
I agree.
People don't want to go there yet because I feel like they're still holding on to the Reggie Millers, the Ray Allens of the world. But I'm like, I think Clay might be second best shooter.
I would agree with you because they're the first shooters who were a focal point of an offense to win championships. I would agree just based off of that. I would, because there's no other shooter in history who was the main focal point of an offense who won titles.
Yeah.
Good point. That's true.
They said that didn't win championships back in the day, but the Warriors did it.
Yeah.
Numerous times.
And they did it 3
times.
times.
Defense wins championships, and
they might do it again.
Yeah. Well, if they got to figure out what they doing this season. I don't know if they trying to rebuild or if they try. I don't know what the Warriors got going on over there. I don't know what they got going on over there. But appreciate you fellas. That's the locker room. We've been on here for about an hour and a half. I got to go catch my 49ers beat up on the Packers. So
you must not have seen the score.
No, not yet.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay, I appreciate it. I appreciate
that. Ain't right.
But
you might want to call Jerry Rice though.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Hopefully I start watching. I give him some luck because I'm watching or whatever. But nonetheless, appreciate you, DeLon. Appreciate you, JJ. Appreciate you, Deke. Appreciate you, Jao.
Yes, sir.
Hashtag does it BIG. Hopefully, we got some stuff off of our chest today. We got some things off of our chest. We was able to defend and we was able to talk about, what we was asked to talk about. And not that we, want to make sure everybody agree what we want to agree with. We just trying to argue a point, just trying to defend a point. That's all it is. So we appreciate you, Facebook. Appreciate you, YouTube. And until next time, we appreciate you and we will see y'all on the locker room. Everybody have a great night. We out of here.
Peace.